Welcome back to The Curious Minds, Knowledge in a Nutshell. I'm Jakub, and today we're diving into the incredible story of a nation that rose from swamps and poverty to become one of the richest and most dynamic countries in the world. Imagine a place with no natural resources, scarce land, and a tiny population that was thrust into independence under dire circumstances. Yet, through visionary leadership and an unrelenting focus on progress, it grew into a global financial and trading hub. This is the story of Singapore, a true modern miracle. Singapore's story begins as a small, swampy island located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. For centuries, it served as a modest trading post, attracting merchants from China, India, and the Middle East due to its strategic location. However, its rise to prominence began in 1819 when Sir Stamford Raffles, representing the British East India Company, established it as a free trade port. Singapore's location on the global trade routes quickly turned its port into a thriving hub. During British rule, Singapore became part of the Strait Settlements and evolved into a bustling commercial center. But this prosperity ended abruptly during World War II, when Japanese forces occupied the island, leaving deep scars on its people. After the war, Singapore returned to British control, but by the 1950s, the push for independence gained momentum as the decolonization wave swept through Asia. Singapore's brief union with Malaysia in 1963 was meant to secure its economic and political future. However, significant tensions quickly surfaced, with disputes over race, resources, and policies. In 1965, Singapore was expelled from Malaysia, becoming an independent nation overnight. The challenges it faced were overwhelming. 75% of its population lived in overcrowded slums. Malaysia had cut off its water supply after the split. Unemployment was high, and there were racial tensions threatening to destabilize the fragile new state. Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore's first prime minister, took charge of a nation many believed was doomed to fail. Facing enormous odds, Lee implemented a series of bold and often controversial policies that laid the foundation for Singapore's transformation. His approach was pragmatic and unrelenting, famously stating, "I'm not interested in democracy, I'm interested in what works." One of his first steps was ensuring the country's survival by building a strong military. Despite Singapore's small size, Lee prioritized defense, creating one of the most powerful militaries in Southeast Asia. This was essential not only for national security, but also for deterring potential threats in a region fraught with instability. Lee's vision extended beyond defense. Recognizing the importance of unity in a multi-ethnic society, he implemented forced racial integration. The government demolished the slums where most of the population lived and replaced them with public housing under the Housing and Development Board. To prevent ethnic segregation, policies required different ethnic groups to live side by side in these new housing developments, fostering social cohesion and reducing tensions. To further unify the country, Lee made English the main language. This decision was not meant to erase Singapore's cultural heritage, but to create a common ground among its diverse population and position Singapore as a global player in business and education. Lee also enforced a zero-tolerance policy for corruption, transforming Singapore's government into one of the cleanest and most efficient in the world. This transparency was crucial in attracting foreign investment. Another cornerstone of Lee's plan was the Central Provident Fund, a system of mandatory savings for workers. This policy ensured that citizens saved for their own housing, healthcare, and retirement, creating a financially secure population and reducing dependence on welfare systems. Lee Kuan Yew's policies paved the way for Singapore's economic transformation. With the basics of housing, education, and social stability in place, the government turned its focus to industrialization. Foreign investment became the driving force behind Singapore's development. Multinational corporations were invited to set up operations on the island, enticed by tax incentives, reliable infrastructure, and a corruption-free environment. Factories and industrial zones emerged, providing jobs and diversifying the economy. At the same time, the government invested heavily in education to produce a highly skilled workforce. Schools emphasized science, technology, and engineering, ensuring that Singaporeans were prepared for the demands of a rapidly changing economy. Singapore also established itself as a global financial hub. By implementing strong legal and regulatory frameworks, it attracted banks and financial institutions from around the world. This focus on finance, combined with its strategic location, turned Singapore into a center for trade, shipping, and investment. The results were remarkable. In 1965, Singapore's GDP per capita was just $506, similar to that of many developing nations. Today, that figure exceeds $65,000, placing Singapore among the wealthiest countries in the world. It is consistently ranked as one of the top nations globally for ease of doing business, competitiveness, and innovation. While Singapore's economic success is often highlighted, its social policies were equally transformative. The decision to integrate different ethnicities into shared housing developments was a bold move that paid off. Over time, it reduced divisions and built a sense of national identity. Today, Singaporeans from different backgrounds live, work, and study together, fostering a harmonious and inclusive society. Meritocracy became another key principle. Opportunities in education, employment, and government were based on talent and effort, not race or connections. This policy created a fair and competitive environment where individuals were motivated to excel and contribute to the nation's success. Lee Kuan Yew also believed in the importance of a clean and green environment. The vision of transforming Singapore into a garden city led to the planting of millions of trees and the creation of parks and green spaces. This focus on urban planning ensured that modernization did not come at the expense of livability. Singapore's rise to prominence is a story of resilience and vision. From a struggling island with no natural resources, it became a global hub for trade, finance, and innovation. Its port is one of the busiest in the world, handling millions of containers annually. Changi Airport is a major aviation hub, connecting Singapore to over 400 cities worldwide. Today, Singapore is home to more than 7,000 multinational companies and serves as a gateway to Asia for businesses from around the globe. Its achievements in areas like biotechnology, fintech, and advanced manufacturing continue to drive its economy forward. Singapore's transformation is a testament to the power of visionary leadership and effective governance. Lee Kuan Yew's willingness to make tough decisions and prioritize long-term goals over short-term gains laid the foundation for the nation's success. His focus on what worked rather than what was ideologically popular allowed Singapore to overcome immense challenges. While some of his policies were controversial, there is no denying their impact. The nation's zero tolerance for corruption, emphasis on meritocracy, and commitment to education and housing created a stable and prosperous society. Singapore's story shows that even under the toughest circumstances, a nation can thrive with the right leadership and vision. From swamps and slums to skyscrapers and prosperity, Singapore's journey is one of the most remarkable success stories of the modern era. It reminds us that challenges can become opportunities when met with determination and bold ideas. Next week, we'll explore another fascinating topic, so don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss it. Until then, I'm Jakob. This is The Curious Minds, knowledge in a nutshell. Stay curious.